Hello everyone and welcome to Momentum channel. My name is Mo, and in this video I'm going to share with you the best bank account here in Canada. Now, before we get into it, you might be asking me, why would you need a bank account to save your money? What is the purpose of it? Well, the truth of the matter is, although the stock market is a great place for saving and investing your money in particular and growing your wealth over time, you also need to set aside some funds for your day-to-day expenses and also for your emergency expenses. This is the money that you could use if something goes south and let's say you have an unexpected expense that comes your way. This way you don't have to necessarily go and withdraw money from your investment accounts, and at the time we don't know how that would impact your investments. So it is always wise to set aside at least about 3 months of your expenses as emergency fund on the side. But in doing so, you are better off saving that money into an account where it gives you perhaps the best perks and benefits, but also gives you a decent enough interest rate. We know the interest rates for majority of the big banks are at all-time lows, and they're barely sometimes a fraction of percent. So that begs the question, are there banks out there here in Canada that allows you to set your money aside and in the meantime perhaps gain some decent interest? Well, yes, and that is exactly why I'm putting together this video for you. The bank that I'm going to introduce to you is called EQ Bank. I've been personally using their services for the past 3 years, and I must say, absolutely, hands down, they're the best bank that I've dealt with. What's so unique about this bank is the fact that they offer an account called Savings Plus account, and this is an account that you could practically use almost as a checking account. It comes with almost all the perks of a checking account, yet there is no fee whatsoever for the major banking needs that you would use. And on top of that, it actually pays you an interest on your daily balances. So the current interest rate that they pay is 1.5%, which I'm not kidding you, it's actually one of the highest interest rates that you can get from any bank here in Canada at this time. And in fact, what's so unique about it is that there's no hidden agenda with the bank, in a sense that, oh, you're going to get a promotional interest maybe for the first 90 days and only you're going to get this rate if you only deposit this much. No, there's no such gimmicks. In fact, this rate is the rate, the posted rate that you're going to get regardless of the balance that you have with this account. And what's so fascinating about them is that they actually do change their interest rates very rarely. In fact, over the past 3 years that I've been with this bank, I recall perhaps they have changed their interest rates perhaps twice, or maybe 3 times at max. And the first time, I'm going to show you actually they increased the interest rate. And this is of course dependent on what's the interest rate that is set by the National Bank of Canada. So if you look at it, back in January of 2020, almost a year ago, they actually increased their interest rate to 2.45%. And now fast forward to August of 2020, they decreased their interest rate to 1.70 and later on to 1.5%. And really the main reason for that is the fact that the interest rate conditions in the Canadian market at the time has been really under a lot of pressure, with Bank of Canada a benchmark rate remaining at its historic low levels of 0.25. What are the various perks that you get with this account, aside from, of course, the more desirable interest rates that they offer? Let's take a close look at them. First and foremost, as I mentioned, they offer that everyday high interest rate, quote unquote high. There's no minimum balance for this account, so you're not going to be charged anything regardless of how much your balance of your account is. Of course, it has to be 0 or above. You don't want your account to go into negative balance territory for sure. There's no fee for your everyday banking, unlike many banks that you have to either maintain a certain balance of several $1,000s to lower your fees or remove those fees. Here, there's no minimum balance, and you're not going to get charged for your Interac e-transfers, for your bill payments. There's no maximum number of debit transactions. For me, I actually use this account as my major account, and all my bill payments, all my debit withdrawals are actually going out of this account, Interac e-transfers, you name it. I have automated debit deposits from this account that then is deposited into my investment account, such as my Wealthsimple account, and there's no minimum requirements for that. There's no fee whatsoever. They also offer you free electronic fund transfer, as you can see here, free EQ to EQ bank transfers, and lower international money transfer. There are a number of additional features here that you could see. For example, what's their daily limits maximums for outbound intra transfers. Now, there are two cons when it comes to this account that I would like to flag. The first con, and this is something that is not necessarily a big deal to me, but I know some people prefer it, is the fact that EQ Bank does not issue a bank card. So if you're thinking of having the convenience of holding on to a bank card that you could go into an ATM to withdraw money, this account and this bank actually does not offer that. So that's something for you to be mindful of. For me, it's not a big deal because I use this bank mainly for my transactions, that most of which are actually electronic, online. And if at any point I need to get cash, I can easily transfer that money through intra-key transfer almost instantaneously to another account that I have, say with Tangerine account or TD Bank, and then use those bank cards to actually withdraw money from an ATM. But like I said, I barely use cash, and that has not been an issue for me at all. The second cons to that, I would say, for some people, is the fact that they do not have a physical branch. So if you're very conventional in the sense that you would like to go into a branch and talk to in person to a bank advisor or a representative, this bank is not perhaps geared towards that. Their whole model is based on offering those services electronically, or you could perhaps also call them to get the advice, but there's no physical bank. And that's how they're actually keeping their costs lower, and as a result offering you all these wonderful perks that, to me, it's well worth having those two cons that who cares about them as much anyway. Now, keep in mind, while that 1.5% interest rate might not be the highest, especially knowing that the inflation rate in Canada is typically geared towards being closer to 2%. So in fact, if you save your money, even in a bank account that pays you 1.5% interest, you're actually losing money at the end of the year. You probably will still need to have some funds on the side for your emergency funds or for your day-to-day use. And might as well just park that money at least in a bank account that gives you the highest interest. And in this case, the EQ Bank really does that by giving you a really decent high interest without any strings attached to that. If you do not have an EQ Bank account at this time and wanting to give it a try, you could perhaps use the referral link that I will be adding to the description of this video. This actually gives you an option to take some bonus rewards. So the way it works is that if you use the referral code, you're going to get $20 as a result. Both of us actually going to get that. Perhaps you could give that a try. I will be sure to share that link at the description of the video. Let me know what you think of EQ Bank and their Savings Plus account. Do you know of any other bank account here in Canada or perhaps in your respective country that offers a better interest rate for a savings account that you could use as a checking account? I would love to hear from you. Let me know in the comment section down below, and I will be sure to provide a response to each and every comment as you provide them. Hope you found this video beneficial, guys, and gained something of value from it. If you did, please be sure to give it a thumbs up and perhaps share it with someone who might benefit from the video as well. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to Momentum channel. Here on Momentum, we post various videos every week about finances, financial planning, investing, and the stock market analysis. Thank you, and I hope to see you next time.